Hello. Thanks for taking time out of your day to learn about MyMedLeads Campaign Builder. When you're working with MyMedLeads campaigns, you'll actually be using two tools, the Campaign Builder and the Communication Builder in the Preferences page. To understand the relationship between the two, the Communication Builder is the message. Most of your time is going to be spent here, designing, creating, and testing your emails and texts. At the end of the session, I'll show you where to find more information. We're going to focus on the campaign because a message can only be sent from inside of an active MyMedLeads campaign. Campaign Builder can be thought of as the envelope. Setup takes just a few minutes. And what you're doing is telling MyMedLeads who is the message audience, what message or messages from Communication Builder are included, and when are those messages sent. Let's start with the most basic campaign, the automatic birthday campaign. So I've created a message in Communication Builder, and I want to pull it into a campaign. The audience for my birthday campaign will be current or future leads and patients that have a date of birth in MyMedLeads. And this audience is going to be kept up to date automatically as new leads come into MyMedLeads or as you update the date of birth fields. The timing for the birthday message is however long before the birthday you'd like to send the greeting. Let's take a look at an example. From the Preferences page, I'm going to click Campaign Builder. On the left hand, I'm going to expand the Birthdays section. And this Birthdays campaign is a default that's included with your MyMedLeads account. I'm going to click the name of the campaign. And this is where we're going to go through the steps of telling MyMedLeads who to send it to. By default, this campaign sends to everyone who has a date of birth in their field. So I'm not going to put any special filters or criteria here. I will save, and that will take me to the next step. This is when I decide what I'm going to put into this envelope. And in this case, I've put a couple of pieces of content into Communication Builder. One is a birthday email, and I'm going to send birthday emails 1 week before someone's birthday at 1 in the afternoon. Notice that you can send messages from either the person who's assigned to the lead in MyMedLeads, or you can set a default from reply to here. So you could say send all birthday greetings from that same reply to name. And when I click save, now I've put one message in the envelope. And in this case, I went ahead and did a text version of the same greeting. So I'm going to drag the text message button over here. Select my birthday text. I can do either the same timing 1 week before, or I might do 4 days before, and save. Keep in mind that only people that have email addresses and mobile numbers would get both messages. And I'm going to save this campaign. A campaign doesn't start sending messages until you activate it. So I'm going to go back to step 1 here and just make sure to show you what a deactivated or pending campaign looks like. It has that little red icon. When I'm ready to activate it, I'm going to go to the very last step in the process, and I'm going to activate the campaign with this green button right here. When I click Activate, you'll see a message saying that it might take up to 8 hours to publish the campaign and start sending. This probably isn't as long as it's going to take. It depends on the size of your database, so don't worry about that message. The most common kind of campaign in MyMedLeads is a drip campaign. This is a campaign that automatically manages the audience and automatically manages when messages go out. Drip campaigns have both start criteria for getting into the audience and stop criteria to stop receiving messages from that campaign. So, for example, if the criteria to get into a campaign was to be a new lead and I wanted to send a first message, then I could time that message 1 hour after the person met the criteria. Some people would never receive another message because they would meet the stop criteria. So it would make sure that they don't get messages number 2 and 3. But they might get all 3 messages if they never meet the stop criteria. The way these are timed is message 1 happens within a certain time based on my start criteria. Then messages 2 and 3 and any others depend on the message before. For example, message 2 can be 3 days after message 1. Message 3 can be 1 week after message 2. The most common type of campaign will be your procedure marketing drip campaign. And this is for engaging new leads until such time as they have scheduled their first consult. So to be put into the audience automatically, the lead just has to be added to MyMedLeads, either through integration or manual entry. And as long as that lead is in new or follow-up status, this person will continue to receive as many messages as you put into the campaign. But as soon as the person schedules their first appointment, they will be removed from the audience automatically. So some people might only get message number 1 and then never get message 2 and 3 because they scheduled a consult. Some people might get every message from this campaign and never get around to scheduling. As far as the timing goes, the first message all depends on the criteria for getting in. So if I'm a brand new lead, you can send message 1 4 hours after I come into the audience. Then the rest of the messages would be something like message 2 goes out 3 days after message 1, message 3 goes out after message 2, and so forth. The timing depends on the typical decision time. How long do people usually take to make up their minds about whatever you offer? Let's go look at an example. I'm back on the main campaign builder page. My birthday campaign is active, and I'm going to go to procedure marketing. There's a default campaign in here too. If what you're wanting to do is target your entire audience with a set of marketing emails that's the same for everyone, this is when you'll use the default campaign. Just like the birthday campaign, the audience is going to be including everyone, in this case, everyone who's in new or follow-up status, and the audience will manage itself. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I'll go to the next step. Now what I've done is prepared 3 marketing messages. The first one is just going to be an initial auto response as soon as the lead comes in. So I've prepared an email, and I'm going to send this 1 hour after someone is a new lead. So in other words, when they get added to the audience. And I'll go ahead and send it from my generic from reply to person. Next, I'm going to drag the email button into the box again. And this time I have another marketing message that's going to go out, let's say 7 business days after. This is after message 1. And my third email will go out 2 weeks later, and it'll be the third marketing email. So 2 weeks. And again, you'll notice that each message I can either choose to send it from the assigned rep in the leads record or a general from reply to. Okay, I'll save my work. Now, nothing's going to happen to this campaign until it's activated, just like the birthday campaign. So I can come back and change the messages that I want to include, or change the timing, or change the audience at any point before I'm ready to activate. This campaign hasn't been activated yet, so notice that it still has the red pending button next to it. You may want to market to people differently based on their procedures of interest. This is why these are called procedure marketing campaigns. So, for example, you could have one campaign for people who expressed an interest in Botox or P-shots, another for people who had expressed an interest in any kind of breast surgery, or people that had expressed an interest in one particular procedure. When you use multiple procedures, then the default campaign that we were just setting up becomes an everyone else campaign if you choose to activate it. So a person has to qualify for only one campaign, otherwise they get sent the default content. It's very important that you do not overlap the audience filters. In other words, you can't have the same procedure selected for two different campaigns. And again, the default content is going to be sent to everyone who doesn't qualify for any campaign or who qualifies for multiple campaigns. So let's go set up an additional procedure campaign. Back on the campaign builder page, I'm going to add a campaign to the procedure marketing list. So I'll click create a new campaign. And the first thing I want to make sure is my campaign type is procedure marketing. And I'll call this my breast procedure campaign and save it. This time we're going to add some filters to the audience. So I only want this campaign to go out to people who are interested in certain procedures, namely breast-related procedures. So I'm selecting the ones I want and clicking save. I'm going to first drag in the email that I used in my default campaign. So you can use one message in more than one campaign. So this will be just my generic autoresponder, the one that goes out that first hour. Now I'm going to add some email that I put in Communication Builder specifically for the purposes of marketing to these people that are interested in breast messages. This is a custom message that I made to be the second marketing message just for people interested in breast campaigns. And this one I'll have go out a week after the first one. And then the third email will go out 2 weeks after the second. The way you choose to time your email really depends on how long it usually takes people to make up their mind about whatever procedures you're marketing. So if this was a campaign about fillers, the sequence of messages would probably go by faster than they would for someone making up their mind about breast procedures. So now I'm going to take a little shortcut back to the main campaign list by clicking step 1. And you can see that I have 2 procedure campaigns here waiting to be activated. Now remember, you can choose to only activate the ones that have special filters, or also include the default campaign and have it act like that everyone else campaign. Other kinds of drip campaigns are designed to speak to patients. The post-consult campaign can start sending messages a certain number of days or hours after a consult is completed, and it will keep sending the series of messages until I schedule that same procedure that I came in for the consult. You can also set it up so that if I schedule any procedure, I'll stop receiving the messages. The timing is whatever time you want to start since the consult was completed. And then you sequence the rest of the messages just as we did for the procedure campaign. The recall campaign starts sending messages after a procedure is completed and stops sending them when the same procedure is scheduled again. So this is great for repeat visits for things like fillers and injectables. And finally, the pre-op campaign you can think of as a countdown to a procedure I have scheduled. So you may want to supplement messages that go out, that will go out earlier than your appointment reminders. You might want to just send me a couple of messages the week before about pre-surgery instructions. And the only thing that would stop me from receiving these messages is if I canceled that procedure. There's one other kind of campaign in MyMedLeads, and it's called the Specials Blast campaign. Now, this one is really different from the others because by default, it sends to everyone at the time that you schedule the message, and it has a specific delivery date, and the message doesn't send automatically or send again or start or stop. So basically, you send me a message at this date and this time, and it goes to whoever happens to be in your MyMedLeads database at that moment. So let's look at an example of this one. This time, I'm going to create a new campaign. And that was just a message saying I had needed to make sure I saved the previous one. I'm going to select Newsletters Specials Blast as the type. And that's what makes the audience behave as I described, where by default, it's everyone in your database. This means all leads, all patients, all statuses. I'm going to click Save. And I'm going to pull in my July specials text. Actually, I did a text for this. And we're going to pretend that's a July specials because my birthday text is the only one there. Okay, so I'm going to send the specials message in a couple of days at 1 o'clock. Now, if I never activate this campaign, the 29th at 1 o'clock can come and go, and the text will not go out. So keep in mind, again, that no message can be sent from an inactive or deactivated campaign. So you might decide, oh my gosh, I'm not going to send that message. And as long as you've never activated the campaign, you can always come back and change the delivery date. When you activate a campaign, keep in mind that unlike the drip campaign, this one is scheduling a message to be delivered at once to everyone. So give it about an hour to get out to everybody before you worry about whether the message is going out. There are a few other things to know about managing campaigns. First, if you need to change something about a campaign, specifically the audience, which messages are in it, or the timing or order of those messages, make sure that you deactivate any active campaign before changing it. Once you've made and saved your changes, you can reactivate that campaign. If you have changes to the message, like you want to update the email or fix a little typo that you found, you do not have to deactivate your campaign to do that. You'll go make that change in Communication Builder, and MyMedLeads will always know to send the most recent version of that message when it's time to go out. And finally, you're not going to be able to delete any procedure that is included with MyMedLeads by default. So this includes the default procedure marketing campaign and the birthday campaign. All you have to do is just leave them alone if you don't want to use them. Let's look at where we can find some more information. First, if I click Support from my main menu in MyMedLeads, I'm going to be taken to a page that has a knowledge base. And there's actually a lot of information in here about both campaigns and content. So if you're looking for more detail or have specific questions, you may be able to find the answers here. Secondly, we have a whole support site that's separate from our main MyMedLeads.com page. So if you go to MyMedLeads.net, you're going to find user guides, video tutorials, and all kinds of helpful information for deeper dives. It's here that if you click Marketing Campaigns, that you can either go and look at the Communication Center guide, which includes step-by-step instructions on everything and video tutorials, or you can review additional articles about marketing campaigns, which ones to use, how they work, and the reporting on them. No matter what, you can always ask the support team as many questions as you have as you're learning about campaigns. So if you don't find the answer to your question in the knowledge base, just scroll down to the bottom of the screen and click Contact Support. This will let you basically send an email to us. And don't be shy about asking lots of questions when you're first learning. You can also call us. Just go to mymedleads.com and dial the number at the top right of the page. Thanks for taking the time to learn about MyMedLeads campaigns, and have a great day.